He's still going. Butler over in the corner. That's the line. Over the line he rolls. Burton. Onkaparinga to turn it over. He's got it again. He's got to go. Spry will do very well. Spry will go. Port Adelaide will push out. And they will push on to. So welcome back, ladies and gentlemen, to Weight Oval. We've had a very short break between the girls' game and the boys' game. The boys are running out. Again, just to let you know, there will be a minute's silence to start this one off. Daniel Jovanovic from Onkaparinga, who unfortunately passed away on Thursday at training, so there'll be a minute's silence for Daniel. He joined Onkaparinga in 2001. I didn't see what all the medals were for, but there was about 5 of them hung around his neck, so an absolute club legend who got some silverware. My name, as always, is Dave Webb. I'm joined in this one by Tim Cooper, the club captain of Adelaide Uni, who's unfortunately injured at the moment. Welcome, Tim.
Oh, thanks, Dave.
We will step out shortly for the minute's silence for that one, as we return to Adelaide University. We haven't been here for a couple of years, I don't think. So we just get ready for this minute's silence for Daniel. So there we go, and we are ready to go. So, Adelaide University in the traditional black shirts with white armbands. So, that's quite nice to make it stand out. They're paying their respects to Daniel, and then Onkaparinga in their traditional red and black hoops, obviously with a 2019 twist to it. But a very different looking Onkaparinga side to the one we saw at Port Adelaide a couple of weeks ago. I think I spoke to Shane Warren. There was about 5 changes in that front row. I just had a chat with Matt Mooney.
Yes, 2018 best tackler.
Do you know, you beat me to it.
We haven't let him forget it for the last year, that's
I don't
for sure.
think he has. I had a chat with him before the game. He's raring to go. If we get any downtime, we'll talk about Adelaide University and how you're going this year. Onkaparinga, obviously one big change, and we see it straight away. Troy Doughty is away in Japan, so Gerard van Aswegen will step into the number 10 jersey. Straight out, Onkaparinga thinking about going quickly. Interesting short choice from this near side winger. Gone with the old footy shorts.
Yes.
Michael Augustus.
Michael Augustus Ryden, affectionately known as Red. He vanished for a couple of years. Well, I should say a couple of games to play footy a few years ago, and he likes reminding us of it, I believe.
So Onkaparinga off and running again. Caden O'Neill in at half-back. Good yards after contact. O'Neill will send it out to the left-hand side. Van Aswegen left it behind. Wilkins out to the winger. It's Riley Matthews out there on that far side. O'Neill again. Van Aswegen gets that one. Finds Farsoa. To Gerd. Short ball to Kiri. O'Neill again. Forces Van Aswegen to pick it up. Then he will go out to Chambers. Chambers corralled into touch by Augustus. We are going back for a penalty for a high shot in front of goal.
You've got to take the points here, don't you? Just
the Northern Hemisphere. Now they've taken the scrum. The Northern Hemisphere man in me will always take points. Will always kick points.
Yeah.
But we are in the Southern Hemisphere now.
It's the English in me coming out, Dave.
I'm sorry, Tim, to bring this up early, but the way things are going with the Coopers Premier League at the moment, points difference could have an effect. And we will talk, sorry to talk about the elephant in the room, but there has been some big scores against Adelaide University this year. So
absolutely,
you probably can't blame Onkaparinga for looking to put more than 3 on the board. Out to Wilkins. Wilkins then will hold and give to Chambers. And the first one, early doors to Chambers. Just a man over and scoring the right-hand side. So we've scratched that itch.
Absolutely. Look, that's just a well-executed move. That's all you can say about that. Obviously, Adelaide Juniors stepped up into Premier Grade for the first time since 2011, which, funnily enough, I was still playing in Premier Grade then. So it's gives you a sign of how long I've been kicking around for. But you know, that's exactly the sort of thing you expect to see from Onkaparinga. Just well drilled, well executed, points every time.
Yeah. And I did have a chat with Matt Mooney, best tackler 2018, before the game, and I just asked him how the feeling around the club is, because you know, week in, week out, you look at the scores at the end of it, and there's been 3 figures next to Adelaide University opposition, and he said, look, we're a social club, we enjoy our rugby, flags will stay down for that one. Wilkins couldn't quite get everything on it that he needed. He said, we're a social club, we're enjoying our rugby, we want to get to the second half of the season, but we're okay.
I think with the competition restructure this year as well, there's a number of clubs who have probably been knocking on the door in sense of being able to put up some competition, but until you're actually exposed to it, I don't think you can really be truly competitive.
And exposed to it week in, week out.
Exactly.
Van Aswegen will put his foot through it. And it will be an Adelaide University lineup inside their own half. Is that facial hair just for the broadcast, or has this been a feature over the last couple of weeks?
That is one Simon Luce Redfern. He loves adopting new hairstyles on a game-to-game effect. He just reimagines the possible of what he can do with his body hair. I'll put it that way.
That's a fair amount of effort has gone into it. Scott O'Neill again sends it to Liam Smith. Coming back from injury, I think, Mr. Smith. We didn't see him in their trip to Port Adelaide. Van Aswegen, nice weighted ball to Gerd. Gerd will beat the first one. O'Neill again. Van Aswegen to Takiri. Sends it out to Murray. Manages to roll away from the first one. O'Neill again into midfield. Evans. O'Neill again. Riley Matthews, the winger. Manages to come back. Gerd again, met strongly. Van Aswegen to Evans. Evans looking for a little bit of space, can't quite find it. Patient build up again from Onkaparinga. O'Neill showed and goed. He will go over and he will score. That one will take us up to 10-0 with the kick to come. And I think if we see the replay, I think you'll find that Adelaide University didn't want the same thing to happen again and run out of numbers out wide.
Just a big hole.
No post defence at all.
There's something we've been trying to work on in the last couple of weeks, both that post defence and also being aware. We've had a history of tending to cluster around the ruck, and unfortunately that's going too far the other way.
Yeah, you had a pillar but no post.
Simple mistakes.
Wilkins will tack on the extras for that one. Yeah, just opened up and in front of the travelling Onkaparinga faithful. He'll go over. just caught it on the end. There's a fan under there saying, why didn't you go under the posts?
I mean, you need to give the kicker a bit of an angle to warm up, right?
Takiri will receive the kick from Jenkins. Beat the first one and managed to get out the second. Got his hands free, but they have turned it over. And Odendahl turns it over. So Adelaide University with the ball in their hands really for the first time. An imploring look on his face. Yeah, and he got the penalty for the high one. Never seen a player ask for a penalty with their eyes.
Young Jordan Smith. Bus driver by day. Effective flanker on weekends.
I'd love to be a bus driver. So Matt Mooney, I think he's going to try and put some points on the board. Matt Mooney. Best tackle of 2018. It's become a meme somewhat, hasn't it?
I think he's just the face of South Australian tackling, to be honest.
He is. I haven't seen him miss one yet today.
I mean, I do remember some very, very loving comments from Jason Hyam in regard to his tackling ability last year. So we won't revisit that too much, but let's just say there's a lot of love to President Matt Mooney.
Matt Mooney. We love Matt Mooney. Ooh. Drives it a bit mongrelly. I don't even think it made the try line. Clearance kick. Hangs in the grey sky, and they can look to counter-attack with Evan Jones. Beat the first one. Takiri will get him. But again, Adelaide University starting to build a little bit of phase rugby. Simon Redfern. Come to Mahoney. Good offload to Odendahl. Short ball. Went back and got it, and then that one goes forward. We're coming back for something. Penalty, another high one. So Mooney will look to push Adelaide University closer to the Onkaparinga line. So Adelaide University, it's not the first one we've seen. Stolen by Onkaparinga. And Farsoa was a mile up. Now we will look to try and find his way through. He's been a nuisance so far, Farsoa. O'Neill. Van Asfagan will put it on the floor. Red manages to get there. Michael Augustus. Absolute pleasure of the Adelaide University bench away to our right. Odendahl just couldn't quite get that one. Mooney will shovel it on to Lowe. Mahoney sends it out to Augustus. Has to step inside. Van Asfagan will finish the tackle. Jones sends it to Musseret. Lost it though, and it's him again. Farsoa has Mooney to beat. There it is, and that is why he took home the 2018 Tackler of the Year.
You know what? It's not about putting on big hits, David. It's just about getting the job done.
Get it done right. Farsoa probably looked at Mooney, thought he had it. That's about as good as it gets.
Inch perfect with that touch line.
There's Augustus with the footy shorts.
And it's the thing you realise playing
down, I think.
It's the thing you realise playing at a university club is it's a very eclectic and eccentric mix of individuals.
Farsoa did well ripping it out, and he probably looked at him and went, it's a fly half, I've got this. Little did he know. There is Farsoa. I think it's just his ego that's bruised a little bit. So it'll be an Adelaide University line-out. I think we're going to get to see this. That's a wonderful tackle from Farsoa. I have been impressed with this young man so far. It was at this point he thought he'd scored. Oh, there it goes. I tell you what, he was close to staying in. Adelaide University win the line-up. Then they will go. Whoa. Good challenge. Nothing further. Mooney. Out into midfield. Playing with fire just underneath their own posts. Harding had a go at it. Didn't quite come back with it. Mussered will go again.
I think we got away with something there.
Uni again, back to Mooney. Mooney just happy to relieve some of the pressure and send it away. And Onkaparinga will be able to launch from there. Just take a second to talk about Onkaparinga. They are very deservedly talked about as being part of the big four. Brighton, Burnside, Old Collegians and Onkaparinga. They've been there or thereabouts for the last couple of years. Good club, excellent talent there. Just got to make that next step over these next couple of years. Lovely short ball to Gerd. Gerd beats the second one. Can he run away? Gets to ground. Wonderful line from Gerd. O'Neill. Just a little bit too high. Went backwards though. Is tidied up. Didn't quite beat the clean out. Then it will go. Van Asvegan sends it wide again. Caleb Witten manages to loop it across to Riley Matthews. Does well to put it on the foot. Gets it in goal. Tidied up by Evan Jones. Nice line-up move. This just a weighted ball from Van Asvegan, and Rhys Gerd was on his way.
That's what you expect to see from Onkaparinga, just well-executed moves, good lines, and they're going to beat that gain line every time.
Rhys Gerd would never step away from the run it, just run it straight challenge. Murray sends it out to Chambers. Chambers tries to run between two. O'Neill into midfield again. Thought about giving it, then it will go forward. Arm is out. I think it's just a knock on. Jordan Smith just bringing it back to the safety of his forwards. Now they will go. Mooney pulls it backwards. Coming back, no advantage. Knock on, scrum down. So 15 minutes gone, 12 points to 0. Your thoughts on the opening stanza of this one, Tim?
I think there was definitely a rapid fire. It was, I think, the 7th minute was when the second try was scored. But it's unfortunately a trait too common with Uni. But now it seems that they've settled a bit. And whilst it's very early to try and predict what's going to happen now, it's looking a bit more of a contest. The defence is standing pretty well. And I'm excited to see what else Onkaparinga has to bring out.
Speaking of a contest, it was a pretty stalemate at the scrum, really.
You started talking before about Onkaparinga being one of the big four, and I think they've been knocking on the door of finals for the last couple of years.
Well, they've been there or thereabouts, just missed out on grand finals by really small margins over the last couple of years, and obviously won it 3 years ago. It'd be the first job that Spacequake Sports did, was the grand final that they won.
Lost that one.
Van Asvegan out to Matthews, out to Wilkins. Wilkins looks to step inside, beats the first one. It's a forward pass from Riley Matthews, the winger. Throws it in the face of Caden O'Neill. So another Adelaide University scrum, lost the last one against the Had. Hasn't reached the point where the Onkaparinga backs are lining up as if it's their ball. Things haven't got that bad yet.
No, not yet. Usual stalwart prop Bronlett is unfortunately injured at the moment,
I've seen him about though. I think he was on video duty at some point.
He has been wandering around. I mean, as with all stalwarts of all clubs, they don't just vanish when they get injured. But it's definitely a noticeable change come scrum time when he's not there. Just a very comforting presence in the scrum. Speaking from personal experience.
Matthews tries to step inside, does beat the first tackle, looks to get it out the back door, has to be cleaned up a little bit by Caleb Whitten. Oh, his hands on the floor, and done well to get away with that. Mooney steps back, clears. Penalty though for hands in the ruck. There is Rhys Gerd. Rugby league player. Well, he is a rugby league player as well, I think. He's played for a while, but challenged him to get through the full 80 today.
Look, if he keeps running lines like he did before, he's probably more than earned an early minute, I'd say. He
is. He's someone you have to deal with in the number 12 channel, both defensively and from an attacking point of view, because he will pick his lines, and then if you're choosing a line to run, you really don't want to run into him. Can't wait for his competition with Matt Mooney. They'll go to the 4, that worked. Then off the top to Mooney. What have they got? They pull it out the back. And they will give it to Augustus. Augustus will look to just change gears. Again, Van Asvegen manages to come across. He's going to do well to get away without giving away a penalty. And there it is, just found himself isolated. Almost could do with a soundboard for things like this. You get isolated, you're either going to turn it over or give away a penalty.
Just unfortunate, you know. It came together so well, and then last man pushed too wide too soon.
Wonderful kick from Van Asvegen. The old banana punt. Sometimes you see it go absolutely horribly. He got that one bang on. There is Augustus. Fair amount of Viking blood in that young man. Whitten off the top. Chambers has come off his wing, looking for work. Then we'll find Takiri. Offload again. Out to Wilkins, to Matthews. Matthews with one to beat. Can he finish? Evan Jones with a good tackle. Managed to get the offload to Wilkins. Wilkins looking for a gap. Wilkins finds a gap. He will score over there in that far corner. Will manage to wriggle his way through most gaps. Teabag.
It's just that follow-up support play, you know, gives a good ball. Back there again.
Just managed to turn the shoulders of Williams. As soon as he saw the number 11 on Williams' back, he knew that's where he could go. It's the line outside of Takiri that keeps Williams interested. Williams has to honour Takiri. Caught between the devil and the deep blue sea out there.
It's probably one of the biggest aspects of the Premier Grade competition is you get very offload happy, but they're well executed offloads, and that is, I think it's a big part of Onkaparinga's game, especially when they've got that go forward, and it's how they pick those holes.
Tries to bring it back around, it doesn't quite get there. So Adelaide University again. And again, those offloads only work if you've got support runners. That is a high-hanging restart. Fasoa manages to do well, get it second time of asking. And he will run around the corner. That's a blind offload, but it almost worked. Just lost Brendan Harding, just couldn't corral it in, and then Uni will go. Caleb Whitten trying to get out of there. Given a fair bit of leeway. Low. Look to get through a gap. Nothing there. Jones takes over from Redfern. Loopy one to Mooney. Gonna come back for the knock-on. No advantage from the knock-on. Yeah, it's 17 points to 0. 3 tries, 1 conversion. So Adelaide University will have a scrum in the Onkaparinga half. Mooney picks it up off his knees. Then inside to Jenkins. Jenkins has got a little bit of space. Can't get away from Wilkins. Good covering tackle from him. Then they will find Williams out on that far side.
There's that offload game coming through on the other side this time.
Jones will find Redfern. Redfern met behind the gain line, but does enough to get it back. Jones again. Back's ball is the call from, all right, Mooney to Jenkins. Jenkins will send it over the top to Augustus.
You know, he's been getting a lot of work from Jenkins, has Red. A lot of work.
He asked a fairly difficult question of Augustus then, but my word, did he put everything into trying to get this pass. There he goes.
You know, I think even though it didn't come off, he's going to love having that on his highlight reel.
I guarantee you we're going to have a better shot of that at some point. Van Aswegen to Takiri. Takiri runs straight. Gets through a couple and again gets better yardage afterwards. Smith takes the short ball. Huge impact from Jack Jenkins. Ball comes back Onkaparinga way though. Van Aswegen looks to just chip it into the gap between the two. Bounce worked for Lowe. Now Lowe will look for some space. Brought down by Matthews. Redfern, a man and ball at the same time. Mooney with a pick and drive. Straight into Farsoa. Just a little disruptive counter ruck from Farsoa. Blaze. He will manage to offload to Odendahl. Redfern. A little bit of hot potato and Matthews will get his foot to it. How's the bounce? Bounce works for Williams. Counter ruck comes from Onkaparinga. Little knock on, but a penalty. Here we go. And he is... everything's off the ground.
Absolutely everything. And still just fingertips, I reckon. I mean, that's the dedication you want to see from your wingers, though, right?
About as good as it gets.
You wonder if the footy shorts make it easier to make those sorts of jumps.
I think that's what it is.
Yeah.
I mean, it would be a contender for Mark of the Year, wouldn't it?
Maybe we should bring in Mark of the Year for this this year's Rugby Awards.
If anyone is out there watching and can turn that into... It's just fodder for that meme where he just keeps going into space. Out the back from Jenkins. To Augustus again. This time he puts the ball on the foot. Turns Wilkins around. It's going to find its way in goal though. I don't think I saw him put it... Van Asfagen will send it out to this near side. Nice work.
Good
Van
work
Asfagen
on the
again.
22.
He will send it down the line. There's no one there, so it's Van Asfagen versus Mooney. Mooney will drop on it. Van Asfagen's did well, very well. Now can Adelaide University get out of here? Blaze, hit hard by O'Neill. Redfern showing his full range of skills, and there's a proper good look at his facial hair. That's not mud stains.
It's not.
That's on purpose.
It's almost hard to believe that he's a father when you look at that facial hair. But again, another stalwart of the club, Simon Redfern, one of our other remaining former Premier grade players. He was actually called up to the Black Falcons, I think even before my time, but
I think he was involved in the Jindabyne trip, wasn't he? And I think Bron Lett was involved in that one as well.
Simon was actually before Bron, but I've actually been told that whilst he got the call up, he also got the call down at the last minute, which is a bit unfortunate.
Oh, that's heartbreaking.
It's something we always love reminding him of in full-natured rugby banter. Excellent player, though.
So another line-out. Adelaide University have shortened the line-out to 5. Taking on Farsoa, and just a little bit of, I thought there was miscommunication. Fired at Max Musserud and couldn't bring it in. Liam Smith turned it over. Farsoa again, looking for a little bit of space. Great offload to Van Asfagen. Good. Runs it straight. One to beat. Offloads on the outside, and the winger will score in the corner. Riley Matthews will get one. That's his first on of the day. Again, just numbers. And I feel, Tim, that it's a big day out if you're going to defend for the vast majority of this game. And at what point does it become too difficult?
Absolutely, absolutely. I mean, it wasn't one of the games that was streamed, but it was a very similar story in the Bees game where just the amount of defence, probably 80 to 90% of Uni's time was spent defending, and it's just very draining when you're constantly having to cover, and when you've got a team as skilled as Onkaparinga who can get that good support play, can get those quick offloads. It makes it a very long day at the office.
Yeah, and they just run out of numbers in the end. So Wilkins, he's had to go at 1 from here. Did he learn anything from the last one? Set it on its way, looks better. Flags stay down. 22 points to 0, 4 tries, just the 1 conversion so far. About 10 minutes to go in this one. It's been clinical from Onkaparinga so far. And also, again, it doesn't look like Onkaparinga have got out of first gear yet.
No, they do look like they're waiting to amp it up. I think they are still trying to, having not played Adelaide Uni for a few years, it's still very much that arm wrestle in their minds whilst not on the scoreboard of trying to work out where the weaknesses are. And I mean, they're performing well, they're very comfortable crossing the line, but it's just the hallmark of a class team that you do just not let yourself get away with it.
Just having another look at that kick. The flags did stay down. Ah, did you? I went just past.
Hooked
just
it inside.
So he's missed to the right, he's missed to the left. Next one out there, he should get it right. Tell you what, every time there's a break in play, I do just sort of sit and look at the vista. Should look at the Adelaide Hills. There we see. It's a pretty place to play rugby, isn't it?
Look, I think you can say we've got one of the best backdrops
Yeah, we're going up to the Barossa next week. I think they'll give you a run for your money. But
I mean, they've got a lot more enjoyable things as well. Some of the finest wines in Australia, and not too bad beers too.
The Spacequake Sports Crew cannot wait. So another scrum.
It's been mixed results for the uni scrum so far as well. One clearly lost and one comfortably held. It wasn't dominant, but
well, that one's close, and Jones does well. A fine Mooney. Jenkins again takes on Van Asfagen. All a bit scrappy, but it's come out eventually. I think that's Udendahl who acrobatically manages to get the ball back, and then Jordan Smith will take on another couple. Hands are on. Yeah, not releasing. Excellent work from Caden O'Neill to get those hands on that quickly. Just happy to kick it into touch. There'll be another line out just in front of us. Haven't seen the girls' game before. Dave Jones is not a short halfback either, is he? They breed tall halfbacks at Adelaide University.
He's a former centre, actually. Kiwi, so just he likes to think he's naturally talented, I think.
Looks good in black as well, I would imagine. Oh, nice line, and now they are through, and they're through again. Has support on the inside, doesn't need him. Takes on Augustus. Augustus goes for a ride. Good, picks it up. Van Asfagen looks to kick it over the top. Just too strong. Wilkins turns. See the break from Andrew Scott wearing number 8, and then the old backpack tackle.
I'll be honest, I think they were just trying to try something new with that kick because they had the numbers. So they're feeling comfortable on Onkaparinga, and why wouldn't they?
It's interesting because after the kick from Van Asfagen, there must have been some level of communication between him and Matthews at the time, but Troy Wilkins was not pleased. I'll leave it there. So Redfern, big pressure throw for him, 5 meters out from his own goal line. These are the ones you've got to get right. It's going to say go to 2, nothing silly. Manages to find its way through to Disanyaki. And then we'll go back to Mooney. Had it charged down by the always dangerous Farsoa, and an interesting call of knock on from our right.
It's just, I mean, speaking of tall players, you know, he's not a short man, and I think that's your clearing 10's worst nightmare when you're sitting that deep in your end goal.
And you can't, there's no room for error, you can't step backwards. So I think it will be...
I think the uni scrum was taken back. And then knocked dead.
No, it's a Onkaparinga scrum. Jones has chosen to stay at the back. Chosen not to follow around, and they're going to try the look at a pushover scrum. Whitten burrows through the middle. He gets there for mine, and there he is. So Whitten will score his. I did day out when we went up to Port Adelaide. One of the best performers in an Onkaparinga jersey last time, and deserves a try. Wilkins still having a chat with Van Asfagen. Goes right through the middle of the scrum. There he goes. University scrum had splintered by that point. Oh, so he's going to look to convert his own try. See that the Adelaide scrum at that point is just hanging on for dear life.
It's just lost, and it's good awareness and good control. It's one of the things you like to see about an 8, and it's just another hallmark of this Onka side. They're still doing everything clinically.
So Whitten. Let's attack on 2 more. Looks okay off the boot, and the flags go up. So Caleb Whitten will convert his own try. That's how you do it.
Might be giving Troy a few pointers before the kickoff, because that was just about the same spot as well,
Just
I think.
going to have a smile at him as he goes past. 29 points to 0 as we approach half-time. High hanging kick, great restart again. Came off an Onkaparinga hand. To Kiri. Finds his way through, and Andrew Scott will get it back. Smith pulls it out the back door, misses everyone. Gerd has to go and tidy it up. Flicks it on to Matthews. Matthews will send it out to Wilkins. Wilkins held his feet, let his support get there. Caden O'Neill's going to have to go digging. Simon Redfern making himself a pest. Oh, it's took a nasty leg break, and Evan Jones has to go and get it. Now we will go again to Augustus.
Oh.
Couldn't quite get hold of it. Little knock on. Evan Jones and Thomas Murray just discussing where the best place to rehydrate after the game is.
I mean, if we're going to look at interesting shorts, I think Evan's actually in league shorts, so we've got a
There's a whole
cross
collection.
code.
There's a whole collection of shorts going on out there. Got all the main ovals covered. Some rugby league, some AFL, some good old rugby union as well. Tell you what though, Mr. Augustus, Michael Augustus, fast becoming a Spacequake Sports favourite.
It's almost like he's used to the camera.
Van Aswegen pulls it out the back to Wilkins. Had a couple of goes at it, but did come down with it. Do well to get away with that. Yeah, offside. Penalty for offside. So Van Aswegen will to send it on. Caden O'Neill slow to get up. And it looks like he's struggling to get up. I'm just trying to work out what's causing him issues. A nice little pat from Rhys Gerd on the way through. Ah, that's what's causing him issues.
Did have an interesting chat with one of the Adelaide Uni trainers who talked about that being the most annoying injury to run off from, because you get all the way over and then find out there's nothing you can do.
Just pour the water bottle down there. Whitten, again off the top. Turned into a solid young player, Caleb Whitten. Now they're going to try and get that driving maul going. They do get it moving forward. Smith with hands on at the back. Caden O'Neill will take over. Oh, terrible pass. He is carrying an injury though, so we'll let him off. So we're into red time. Remember, we do play time on in the Premier Grade. We'll have to get a wriggle on because there's no lights here. And it is a little bit overcast already, so can't have too much injury time. So you'll be away from Farsoa this time. Dave Jones will feed the scrum, so Matt Mooney will have a little bit of space, but that doesn't mean it's going to be easier because he will have Andrew Scott, I think, bearing down on him from this side of the scrum. Pop back out, so we'll reset that one. Friendly conversation between the two flankers over on that far side.
It's just the social nature of rugby, isn't it?
No other game like it. Gets more fun the older you get as well, Tim. Ball's come out. We'll go back to Mooney. He didn't want that one. Does well to get it off the boot, but and half time, I think he was saved by the whistle at that point. So 29 points to nil. Tries to Caleb Whitten, Caden O'Neill, Jason Chambers, Riley Matthews, and Troy Wilkins. Troy Wilkins with one, and then Caleb Whitten with the other conversion. 29 points to nil. Very briefly before we go to a break, happy?
Yeah, look, I think, as you said, elephant in the room. It's one of the best teams in the state, playing a very new Premier grade side, and realistically, Uni are just wanting to look at their defence.
Okay, we will just step away, and we will be right back with you after this short break. So we are back, and there is a shot of the Onkaparinga River. Obviously where Onkaparinga gets their name from. That is beautiful, actually. They're not live pictures, Tim.
That is amazing.
It's beautiful, isn't it? And it's not far from our doorstep, really.
I mean, it's one of those things. You did comment before about the backdrop that we're lucky enough to have here at Waite, but it is just a fantastic place in general in SA. We're just lucky.
We do love South Australia.
Yeah, you could say it's a majestic landscape.
It is. It's a lovely place. I did talk about this in the girls' game, but your pitch is soft. Boggy was the word I heard, but soft is definitely the best descriptive of it. And it's really difficult to drop kick if the ball's just not coming back to you. Oh, there's a counter-rock. Made an absolute mess of it. Just destroyed it.
I do not know.
Adelaide University have got a little bit of a roll-up. They've come, God knows what they did at half-time. Mahoney. Onkaparinga just taking a second to settle. Ball is going to come back the Adelaide University way. Matt Mooney just looked at his halfback and went, "No, I don't want it."
Oh no, that is strong
and
defense.
Turned over by Takiri. Van Asvegen will send it over the top. Evan Jones manages to get it. Can he get in front of some black shirts? He manages to get in front of one. Farsoa again, solid. All a bit messy, but does come back Onkaparinga's way. Beginnings of a counter-ruck game, but that was about it. Hoping we've got a replay of the other counter-ruck. I want to see who just obliterated that.
I do not know what was in the halftime order, but physicality in this first couple of minutes is...
penalty for offside, but just to prove I'm right up there with pop culture, it was like someone from Onkaparinga pressed the AZ5 button. I think it's Odendahl who just destroys it.
And I mean, Farsoa's not a small man to move, but to take him and I think O'Neill as well. Yeah.
Got everything. There you go. Well done, young man.
He's affectionately known as the Breadman Odendahl. I'm not sure why. The story goes that he arrived at his first training and just said we couldn't pronounce his name, so call him Breadman.
Breadman. Am I doing it wrong? Is it Odendahl?
I think it's Odendahl. As I said, most of us just weren't even told his surname. It was just Breadman for the first year he was here.
Picked up by Blaze. There are Onkaparinga hands on it from Gerd. He has turned it over again. Takiri plays halfback. Onkaparinga now. Chambers, good hands out to Wilkins. Wilkins will put it on the boot. It's a long, long way for Evan Jones to go across, so Adelaide Uni will have to chase back. Good tackle from Chambers. Flirts with the touchline and the flag goes up. It will be an Onkaparinga ball. They've gone quickly to Wilkins, but the referees weren't even aware, so... Well, let's sting Onkaparinga into action. Farsoa off the top. Flat ball to Blaze. Met hard but kept going. Now they will swing to the right-hand side. Chambers, Witten, Farsoa. Again, just run out of numbers, and it's as easy as that in the end. Looking around for someone to kick it. Witten going to go there? He is. Switch over to that far side, and again just ran out of numbers. But as good as it gets rugby-wise from Caleb Witten. Draw your man, give the pass, go pat him on the back. So 6 tries, 2 conversions, and interestingly, 6 tries, no dual points scorer's Chernobyl reference for those playing at home. Thank you very much to Jimmy Jack. I just had to ask the question from Rhys Gerd, was he on his feet? He did lose his feet afterwards, but I think I'll let him go with it. I think play on. All's fair in full love and war.
Absolutely. Look, I think at the end of the day, we can sit here and debate the finer points of the law, but as you know, it's the referee's call on the day, and that's what we go by. Turnover ball, great counter-attacking move.
Technically, but I'm laughing because this Whittam will send that on its way. Looks good off the boot, and he's 100%. I'm laughing because I did referee an Adelaide University game a couple of years back, and had to remove one of your front rowers from the field because he was wearing a belt with a buckle. And the response came back that was possibly a little bit overzealous, to which I replied with the law. Somebody replied that I was technically correct, which is, of course, the best kind of correct.
Well, you know, the number of technicalities that people pull through.
Takiri is just on his way again.
And that offload.
Offloads to Smith just to buy them an extra couple of metres. To Whittam. Whittam will pull it out the back to Farsoa. Farsoa had his leg held onto by Jenkins. Again, that's just that second wave. Smith. Quick hands to Harding. Back to Takiri.
Oh, that's a big fend on the captain.
Mahoney sent backwards. Looks like there's been a change. I know Curtis Woolridge, right, just haven't seen much from him. Whittam again. Stops inside, manages to offload to Farsoa, then out to Wilkins. Wilkins will come back inside, looking for a gap. Manages to get away from Mooney, gets over the line. Can he get it down?
No, lost it looks like. But
I think like Evan Jones managed to pull it away, but there's a penalty.
There was a high shot, yeah.
Just stopping the clock and going to the pocket, wondering who he's looking for.
That is just
very, very well
from
Evan Jones, but did see him stop the clock and want to talk to somebody. I don't know whether we just had a chat or whether it's we'd see if someone comes over, because we've got a fourth official with us. No, it's all settled down. Ignore me.
I think held up was the final call on that one.
Farsoa has come off. He's had an absolutely wonderful day out, that young man.
I'm not sure if you can go back to it, but it looked like just as he released the offload, he got absolutely snotted by Jenkins.
Right.
And that is not a man you want running at you.
I tell you what, that's a try saver from Evan Jenkins. You just see Farsoa in the background, a little bit shaken up, but had a wonderful day.
It's another pushover
again,
here.
looking for a pushover. The scrum has gone down. Finnegan, he says that might have gone down easier than it would normally. And they are starting to get a roll on into midfield. Oh, another big contact. That's Udendall again. Now they've got space outside. Rhys Gerd will show and go and get it down.
Stretching.
Jeez, they made him work for it. But he did get it down. So that'll be another one. So Rhys Gerd will pick up his first one. And we are continuing this trend of just having single try scorers. They nearly got him up.
They managed to hold him. They just couldn't get under the ball. But, I mean, what about the physicality in the second half so far? They just come out firing.
It's great, isn't it?
This is what park footy is all about.
So Caleb Whittam will take the shot at goal. I feel as well when it comes to games like this for Adelaide Uni's point of view, win the small battles. Take the positive out of small battles. So the Evan Jones try saver, take that. The fact that defensively you were this close to another try saver result. Take the little wins out of it. Good restart, good scrum, good line up. Build on those things.
Absolutely, absolutely right. You know, we've talked about it a couple of times already, but this is a grade where we are out of our comfort zone and out of our depth, and it's fair to say that Onkaparinga is by far the more skilled and more experienced side. So it's about building to that level, and as you said, taking these small lessons, so that, you know, in a year, 2 years, 3 years, it's more of that context. It's development.
Yes, perfect. And Caleb Whitten, 3 for 3.
New kicking duties on permanent basis, maybe.
That one does get the 10 and then just bounces to touch. Yeah, interesting. But, you know, Onkaparinga just showing their class at the moment. Just able to do what they want when they want at the moment. There's potential for this to just fall off a cliff quite quickly for the men in black.
Yeah, absolutely right. It's just interesting to see how it plays out. You know, fitness is obviously a big factor. I know it's something that uni always prides themselves on. They might not be the biggest or the most skilled, but they usually back themselves on going.
The fray, and Caleb O'Neill nearly made his way through the gap. Smith will step in at halfback. Devine again. Brought down by Disanyaki. It looks like they might have turned it over. Oh, they turned it over illegally though. Got to keep your feet, gentlemen. It will be a penalty.
That's that technical aspect of the law we were talking about before.
Well, that's not that technical. Just don't lie on top of the ball. That's pretty agricultural, really, that one. So it'll be a line out in a very dangerous position for Adelaide University. They will have to try and keep that driving maul at bay. They kind of stopped short, but what are they, 6 metres out? Seeing Dodge and Williams has been replaced. Not sure who's been replaced with. We'll find out in a minute.
It could be Tapi Andreas. I see he's taken the field.
So Whitten did manage to get it back. It is at the back. It's in the hands of Smith. Now they're going to try and work. They splintered that maul a little bit. Riley Matthews comes in and makes it move. Then they get over the line and it's down. Once that forward motion goes and the defensive maul splinters, not a lot many people can do. So Liam Smith will score his try. And we continue. All single try scorers.
I mean, it's a trend which, as a uni man, I hope stays, because it means there can be no more than 23 tries. You know, if we're looking at pure optimism,
small wins.
Yeah, small wins. Exactly, you said. We do have a shout out from a former player, Ollie Roberts. I think he's in Russia at the moment.
Oh.
Last I heard, he could have moved back. UK man. Hello, Ollie. It's good to see you.
Just managed to get that second shove going, and then as soon as they're having to come back around and work, it's almost impossible.
It's a textbook driving maul. It's exactly what you want to happen at that point in the red zone, and it's a well worked, well earned try. And that's what all of Onkaparinga's tries have been. I think, speaking of the small victories, that's what you want to look for. Is they've never just fallen over. It's always been.
That's a very, very good point, actually, because when you see scores blow out, as Whitten will send that one on the way. That one's never coming back though, so not successful with that one. You see just complete breakdowns in midfield, and a kickoff, and the receiver from the kickoff will just go, and a couple of missed tackles, and then they're through. It's not been that. Onkaparinga are 48 points better than you at the moment. They've just worked the ball better.
Yeah,
it's not been a complete breakdown. Tom McCall has made his way onto the field. It's a favourite son of Spacequake Sports, Tommy McCall. Takiri with a big contact.
Looks like he sat him down, but then he went down as well.
Back up. I think it's Patrick Lowe. Penalty though. There he is, big Tommy McCall. I fell in love with him in that grand final, and then we've not really seen much of him since then. But Mooney will send it into touch.
Ooh.
Yes.
Yeah. Just didn't come off the boot nicely, but did the job.
I was talking to David Muggleton, our director, at half-time, and Michael Augustus fast becoming a Space Quake Sports favourite.
Don't let him hear that.
Oh, he's going to. You know he's going to watch this.
You really hope they don't, but, you know, I'm sure that he'd do some feature pieces for you. He's a young lawyer, actually, so you know that he's used to talking a bit of gaff.
Devine will steal the lineup. And then we'll find Takiri again, who's just starting to really put his stamp on today. Box kick from O'Neill. Augustus sits underneath it. Sort of half showed the kick and then decides to take on 3 Onkaparinga players. He's got to work hard to get to ground. He does. It's not a ruck. He obviously hadn't called the maul. Because a maul can't become a ruck, so all of the ruck laws don't exist, but obviously hadn't called it. That one comes off the hounds, finds its way to Jones. Jones can't get away from Asfagan. I tell you what, if there is a better covering tackling fly half, I'd like to see them. Oh, speaking of destructive counter-rucking, Takiri. It's all very messy. Penalty, but yes, about 3 of them had to go with hands on it there.
I think the first time, absolutely great counter-ruck, and then Jones cleaned it up.
Whoa, just
dangerous.
Just flirting with danger.
Jones cleaned it up, and then second man came in with the hands, and I think by that time, I think Gerd was the one who was penalised in the end. Just by that time, the ruck had well and truly formed.
So Redfern again, big throw for him. These are the times where you've got to hit your targets. Came back inside. I think he's caught one. I think just got a trailing leg. I'm not entirely sure whether it was on purpose. Just one of those ones where he beat the defender with the step, and there was just that trailing leg, and I think he went over the top of it. Slow to get up. Second time he's slow to get up. This one is less X-rated than the last injury. Trainer can go out and do something. Shin on shin, I think it was. So it looks like there's some wholesale changes coming for Onkaparinga. Ben White, Reese Merriman and James Austin making their way past us. Just delay, so 48 points. There's the lights. I apologise. I apologise profusely to everybody involved with Adelaide University Rugby Union Football Club. I just didn't see them, and then
that's what you want, and they were there. Right?
Yeah,
subtle lights blend in with the beautiful landscape that we've been admiring all day.
Caden O'Neill comes off, and that's a wonderful penalty kick. Is that Van Asfagan? So there we go, wholesale changes. Liam Wall has come on. Ben White has come on. Takiri has made way. Caden O'Neill has made way. Caleb Whitten has made way. And Brendan Harding has made way. So there's a huge amount of changes. Could be all of them all at one. So Liam Smith to throw in. Wilkins to halfback, out to Van Asfagan. Then to Reese Gerd. Good yardage again. Now they're going to come to this near side. Smith. Then to hands out to Devine. Can Devine get there? No, he can't.
It's Odendal again.
Good covering tackle. I think Liam Devine was hoping that would be a back coming towards him and not the substantial frame of Odendahl.
And if we step away from the scoreboard for a second and do look at some of the defensive efforts, it is Odendahl who has been an absolute pest at every opportunity.
The Redfern again goes over the back. It's going to find its way all the way to Gerd. Shovels it up to Scott. Scott will then hand it off to McCall. McCall will put his head down. Odendahl has got hands on. Couldn't beat the clean out though. Wilkins to Devine. Devine with a little slip pass to Smith. That's the try line there. They're very, very close. Out to Matthews. Can Matthews be our first more than single try scorer of the day? No, he can't. It'll be a 22. Just a little bit of chatter between Matthews and a couple of the university boys. I think he gets this ripped out by Andreas.
I think it's Jones.
It is Jones. So well, it wasn't ripped out. He just was trying to offload it. Just see whether, just a little bit of, oh, just the old throw the ball at the head trick. if you really want anything to, you want someone to go off at you, just throw the ball at the head. So he tried to offload and just lost it, and then I think that's Mulder who just flopped on in, and just to show his displeasure, throw the ball at his head.
I think he was very aware of how close the touch line was, and so I'm trying to shift that back in, over the shoulder.
We've had a long chat, Mr. Walton and Mr. Bennett. Going to have a chat with the captains. There was much ado about nothing, really. Scene wise, but we shouldn't condone fighting, but boys will be boys at times.
Absolutely. And
And I think they're going back for a penalty.
That extra 10 seconds just to have a breath.
Yes.
Also can help soothe any battered egos.
Yeah, not a penalty, a 22. That's an interesting choice. It just ends up in the hands of Matthews, and Matthews will step the first one and then get back inside. Good covering tackle from Andreas. McCall, flat ball to Devine. Then a little slip ball out the back. Onkaparinga really starting to pile the pressure on now. Wilkins looked for it, knocked it on. Don't know whether it was him that knocked it on. Somebody knocked it on at the back. So we were set with an Adelaide scrum, and the Adelaide scrum has struggled.
I mean, attacking, they've been moving backwards, but they're still managing to get the ball. It'll be interesting to see because, Onkaparinga have rolled out a lot of fresh forwards.
They have,
they are hungry to get over. And they've shown in the red zone what the scrum can do.
Be interesting to see whether there's... No, it looks like they've got it. They've managed to sort themselves out. Jones to Mooney. Mooney will put it on the boot. Good clearance kick. Then we'll bounce inside of Merriman. Merriman has a lot of time, and he has support away to his right, one of which is Chambers. Then he will go to Wall. Wall is met by Jenkins, but manages to get the offload away again, and Chambers, and then the angry spider tackle came from Augustus. Showing us the flag will go up. Showing there's a full repertoire of his tackles. We've had the koala. And that was...
It almost looked like he slipped into the tackle as well. It's just...
I think there needs to be a night where Matt Mooney just puts on a clinic for the good old-fashioned straight up. I don't think I've seen him miss a tackle again today.
I mean, you're not wrong.
If you don't make an attempt, you can't miss.
And really, is the award about, the biggest tackler? Is it about the person who you want to be telling? Yeah, consistently. In much the same way, Witten should have stepped away from the tee after his third kick.
Yes. Well, I think it would have been unfair for him to get the hook, though. And
I mean, he's still... I'm going to say he'll be taking the next one, and he'll undoubtedly put it straight through.
No, he got the hook.
Oh,
he's
yeah.
Sat on the pine. You miss a kick, it's straight to the pine.
Harsh selection laws in Onkaparinga nowadays.
Odendahl has a run with it. Not 10, so they can go again, and Mooney will probably just push them down this time. Not going to go though. Long way to go. Merriman just wants to put it on the boot. Redfern, will he go quick? Yes, he will. And he just sort of throws it into no man's land and puts Jones under huge amount of pressure, but they managed to sort it out. Mooney to Jones to Andreas. Andreas tries to get around the outside, beats Wall the first time, can't beat him the second time, then has it stolen, slip pass out the back, then back to Matthews. Matthews will step inside, swarming defence from the Adelaide University players. Wilkins has to go digging for it. Just the foot at the back just took it away from his fingers.
And that's, that's where you see luck cutting both ways. Unlucky for Onkaparinga, great opportunity, and very lucky for the uni boys.
So a scrum from Onkaparinga. I think it's probably late. Is it Onkaparinga? No, it's Adelaide Uni scrum. Just, there's a young lady in Onkaparinga kit who's just walked past it. She's absolutely covered. Absolutely covered in mud.
But again, that's what these days are about.
It's a family day. It's great. She's found a mud puddle, jump in it. That's what it's there for.
And speaking of the ground being soft underfoot, I remember the days, and it's not too long ago, where everyone would end up in a black jersey.
It's better. It's the best I've ever seen it in June or July. Redfern. Giggling because the girl's just been spotted by by parents. So this time Mooney will take control, and he'll try and push them down the line. Which he does again. Almost like he's aiming for us, but...
Do you think he can hear what we're saying, just from the contribution?
I'm sure he will.
He will later, but I'm talking about now. Maybe we haven't been talking achievements enough.
He had a quiet 2000, and I know 2018. It was last year, wasn't it?
It was last year.
Yeah. The hush that descended over the hall when he was announced.
And there has been a change for uni as well. Jordan Smith is off, and Lex Baker in 19 is on.
Augustus has a little bit of time and space. Will take on Wall, manages to step inside, then has to take on Gerd. Like toddlers fighting.
But what a smile.
I tell you what though, he plays with a smile on his face. Mooney wasting no time. Will push them down into the 22. Uni try. Need to see a uni try. Satini Oliver saying uni grounds back in the day was the worst, and they were. I remember playing here, and the mud coming up to your ankles. It was.
Yeah. Oh, I am well with you, Satini. I think the only ground worse, and it's purely the ground, but that centre square at Old Coles has a habit of just being...
Well, that's okay now because they don't play cricket there anymore.
Oh, fantastic.
Burnside, still going. Still there. We are literally over the road from Airbray and farmland, and it's great farmland.
It is. We can only hope that one day rugby union will take precedent over such things as cricket.
Maybe one day. Out to Mooney. Into midfield, takes on Wall, runs through Wall. Matthews did well, did just enough, and the ball came out forwards. And Onkaparinga will be able to come away and clear their lines. Merriman, ball just bounces away from Andreas.
You know what? You would rather that than he touch it and it go out, wouldn't you?
That's very true. He knew what he was doing. He left it well. And Adelaide Uni will have the ball. One thing I will say for Redfern is he seems to do things at his own pace.
I think that comes with all front rows with experience.
Experience, great word, experience.
Yeah, absolutely, absolutely. You can
Good
usually
ball,
tell
good
how
ball.
experienced a front row is by how much they talk to the ref at scrum time.
Again, just struggling to get to the gain line. Ben White making the tackle. Jones will pull it out the back to Mooney. Then out to Jones. Again, just not quite making it there. Jones will fire it into midfield to Mahoney. Mahoney, patient. Yeah, I've got a couple of numbers out here. Redfern, that's not a bad kick from Redfern. It's going to bounce towards the 22. Oh. Almost needed it just to hold up and make the Onkaparinga player, but tell you what, mercurial from Redfern.
He's a man of many talents, Simon Redfern. He was at one point the second best spin bowler in the state, I'm told, in cricket. So speaking of cricket pitches, he's probably the reason we're stuck with ours.
Wilkins to Van Aswegen and then to Scott. Scott runs it straight. Dealt with well by Disianaki. Oh. Wilkins swarmed.
It's a bit of the together effect going there on that tackle.
Out to Smith. Inside ball. Odendahl again, just letting Austin know that he's in a rugby game. Wilkins to Van Aswegen to Gerd. Gerd will send it to Wall. Out to Merriman. A tall, rangy young man. Out to Chambers, and then Chambers will press the loud pedal, and Evan Jones again will come across and get him. So there is Chambers. Scored the opening try of the game, and then they just haven't quite managed to, well, plenty of tries.
Yeah, absolutely.
They shared it around. Socialist rugby.
I mean, you can look at it in a couple of ways. There's no greedy players on the Onkaparinga side, but it also shows, you know, the ability of all of them to score from any point.
Well, we've seen probably everything. We've seen a pushover try, we've seen a driving maul try, we've seen just overlap tries. I mean, the one thing that we haven't seen, and again, this is probably kudos to Adelaide University, just not seen anything individual, and as I say that, there goes Andrew Scott. And there is
jinx.
The individual try, and again, we continue. His first one of the day. Just Redfern just missed the target. The ball came across and he just couldn't do it, and over he goes.
I mean, when you've got a big man getting the ball that close to the line, he's going straight every time.
Yeah, too easy. Redfern just missed his target, and then over Scott goes. And is that Merriman who's going to take over the kicking duties? It is Merriman. Reese Merriman will have a go at goal. Max Shearer running the tee as always. Interesting looking kick, but got the job done. Did Liam Smith get in his head? See him before the throw, just having a little bit of a chat with Mr. Redfern, and then he missed his target. So we have breached the 50, 55 points to 0. Wilkins to Van Aswegen, and now Wall can't get away from Jenkins. Gilmore has come on, and it's
sealing off the call. Oh yeah, there it is.
Saw him have a little bite at him, just a little nibble, like a dog that always needs the last word.
I think we've had some changes for Uni as we enter the last.
Yeah, I just saw Edward Gilmore
five.
one. I think Christopher Luong is on as well.
Yes.
So, look. That one will be right on 5. There are some pieces to the puzzle. I tell you what, Jack Jenkins defensively at 12 has been very, very impressive. Odin Dahl has been good. Evan Jones at fullback has been good. Attacking wise, there just hasn't been the weapons there.
I think there's just been uncertainty. People aren't feeling. They don't look comfortable.
There are some foundation stones there, though.
Absolutely.
Certainly are.
Absolutely, and I think perhaps one of the main things to look at is that they haven't stopped. The defence is still standing strong.
And that's something that I think would be an excellent point as we approach 5 minutes to go on this one, and Wilkins will just look to clear away and does.
Targeted at the Uni bench.
Oh, look, it's staying on the top. But on the other side of the coin, just too good. Caden O'Neill, before he went off, his distribution was absolutely outstanding. Liam Smith, nice to see him back. I think he's coming back from an injury. He's been very, very impressive. I think he damaged that right hand. I think he had, or left hand, he had surgery on it. Adam Takiri has made a mess of the midfield while he was on. Gerard Van Aswegen has, I mean, you could go on to 15 really, but they've been impressive today.
Absolutely.
And just got the job done.
Absolutely. Every player is knowing their role. Every player is doing what they're supposed to well.
Look on in midfield and it'll be an Onka scrum.
It's been clinical from Onkaparinga, I think, just clinical. And exactly as you just said, there's not any 1 or 2 or 3 players who are just star players, so to speak. It's every player from 1 to 22, in fact, has been coming on and making an impact in their ways.
And I think if you really wanted to say who's sort of risen to the top of that group, it would be Sani Farsoa. Just really, really good when he was on, a great line-out option. And he did get a try today, but again, Socialist Rugby, they've shared it around. And you go through the try scorers: Liam Smith, Sani Farsoa, Andrew Scott, Caleb Whitten, Caden O'Neill, Jason Chambers, Reese Gerd, Riley Matthews and Troy Wilkins all have got one. So it's been good. All kinds of different tries as well.
Absolutely, absolutely.
So where does this stack up then for you? As we approach the end of this one, where does this stack up for you in the games that you've played this year? Where does it lie for you?
I think it's probably, we're lucky in that we're playing Onkaparinga once we've already been blooded against a few of the other big, strong Premier grade sides. So we've had the opportunity to already try and make some lessons, and this is, where we're testing that out. And going forward from here, it's continuing to reinforce what we're doing well, as you pointed out, those small individual aspects, but then also what we can do better.
Again, Matthews just tried to get around the outside and didn't quite get away from Paul Blaze.
I think it's a mentality shift as well, David. In Division 1 we were the small, fast team, and unfortunately when you get to Premier grade, it's usually everyone gets quicker, they're just bigger too. So it's about working out what you can do and what makes your team work.
So Redfern again will try and find a target. Nice little move to go to 4.
Well stolen.
Jacob Mulder does really, really well. Scott will duck under a tackle. Devine, nice offload to Smith. Smith dealt with somewhat by Mahoney. And then Tom McCall will get going and look for an offload. Finds an offload to White. Wilkins out to the right hand side. Gerd loops it towards Van Aswegen. Then Merriman makes his way into the 22. White finds a little bit of space, couldn't get through the last one. Wilkins tries to have a look through the middle, nothing there, will offload. Gerd finds Chambers back on the inside, and Chambers, can he get away? No, he can't, but he can find White. And White will score. And it continues. 10 tries to 10 different players. think Chambers knew that. Decided to find White. It's an incredible offload though from Chambers. Great offload.
Great awareness.
And then over
great
goes
support.
White. Support running, like all good back rowers.
And that's part of the key pieces of Onkaparinga's game. They've executed it well. They have a strong offload game, as we talked about earlier. Those support runners coming through are what you need to make that effective.
So Merriman, who kind of scuffed his last one, but it got there. Makes an easier job or a more attractive job of the second one. So he's 2 from 2 for the points after. So we see it again. It's a great little offload, and then Ben White running on the winger's shoulders, as all good number 7 should do. And again, being a student of body language as I am, there's nothing dejected really about Adelaide University. A lot of the time you would see teams going down to scores this big, and here they are, 62-0 down in red time, shouting for a ball because they want to get going again. There's huge positives out of this, Tim.
It's absolutely, it's the attitude that we want to see going forward, and I think it's the awareness of what we're trying to do, and I think that's what the coaching staff and the leadership of the club are trying to make clear as well. These small positives that you mentioned, that's what we're focusing on as a club, and that's where we hope to be doing, the right things in time.
Penalty from the ruck. McCall will send it inside to Gerd. Gerd will beat the first one, then find a little gap. It's an interesting tackle, but it worked. Out to Van Aswegen, he'll loop it all the way over to Matthews, inside to Wall. Just about got him.
Andreas with
turned
a
over,
steal.
but there's a whistle.
It's interesting because was the steal illegal, or it looked like Andreas may have been taken high as well?
Yeah, I think it was the first one was the high tackle, which is what that penalty is for. McCall again, flat ball to Devine. Devine looks desperate to get on the score sheet. Then it will go again out to Van Aswegen. To Mulder, to Chambers. Chambers, can he find a gap? No, again. Augustus manages to hold him down. Austin gets over the line. Not sure he can get down. Held up. So we'll go 5 meters out, and Onkaparinga will have a scrum. There is time for the... No, there's not time for the scrum. That will do us 62 points to 0. 10 different try scorers through the day. A lot of positives for Adelaide Uni, but definitely a lot of positives for Onkaparinga. They were good today. Very, very good, and got the job done. Consummate professionals today. Thank you very much for joining me, Tim.
Thank you, David.
Just your thoughts on where you go from here.
Look, onwards and upwards, as I say. I think despite everything, we're improving week to week, and we appreciate the chances to play teams like Onkaparinga, because teams like this set the standard for where we want to be.
Excellent news, and again, well done Onkaparinga. It was an absolutely professional display and very much deserving of the win. Ladies and gentlemen, next week we are taking a trip up the Northern Expressway, and we will be in the Barossa. And we will speak to you then. From me, Dave Webb, and Tim Cooper. Have a very good evening wherever you are.